everyone. And I'm Colin Volcanet. I am your role booth operator this morning. And we have another Nentir Vale tale. This is the Eye of the Storm, but there's a pun in there because of how I spelled I. It's really clever. You should all go out and find the pun. Just soak that in. Joining us today, we have a bunch of new faces. So why don't I just start to my right? Introduce yourself and your character. Oh, that's
Um,
Norm. Sorry.
Oh, yep. So I'm Norm. My character is Greg. He's a half Duergar, half mountain dwarf paladin, uh, formerly following Cord, now looking for a new god to serve.
Nice. Very nice. And below him, we have a returning face, Double Doc.
Hi. Silver Memory, my friends call me Doc, and those people who don't know me at all call me Double Doc because that's what it says down below. I stream video games on Twitch, blah, 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 blah. And I will be playing Toki, also known as Toki for those with unnuanced tongues, a Arawaka, bleh,
Aarakocra.
Aarakocra. See, now who's unnuanced? Rogue.
Very cool. To your right, we have another new face, Wes.
Hi, I'm playing Sibo, a gnome cleric. He follows Pan, and I don't do anything interesting except try not to fail school and writing fan fiction.
But fan fiction
Fan-
is so interesting.
Very worthwhile. There are many great works of art that started as fan fiction, like everything by Shakespeare. Um, above you, last but certainly not least, we have Yaz.
Hi, I will be playing Aradani. She is a tiefling shadow sorcerer. And again, I don't do much on the internet other than just kind of hang around. So
That's fine. You don't have to. You're here, and we're gonna play some D&D together. So now I'm gonna give you the premise of today's session. In the Nentir Vale, there has been a terrible storm that has been absolutely racking the region for a month now. A month straight of torrential downpour of thunder and lightning, uh, mudslides and rock falls in some of the areas east and west of the Vale, flooding from the Troll Haunt warrens to the south. It's been bad. Um, Bad enough that the Lord Warden has actively sought some people to figure this out. His own magical advisors, his wife, and the various wizards and sorcerers of the Septarch's Tower have indicated that this is not a natural storm, confirming what most everyone sort of figured after the first month of rain. Um, the question I'm going to pose to each of your characters is why you? Why are you one of the people on this expedition? Because these wizards, they found out the eye of the storm of this month-long storm is centered on Thunderspire Peak out east, and it's not moving. It's been there for a while. So the question is, why is your character invested in this expedition? Why are you coming along, and what do you have to gain or lose? And we'll go in verse order this time. Yaz.
Aradani is a member of a noble family, and this storm has been seriously, uh, seriously impacting the trade routes that that her family is involved in, and they want to figure out what's going on so that they can continue making their money.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And what about Wes?
Um, Storms like this do not make Pan very happy because they're the opposite of natural, and they kind of tend to mess up what is actually living in the. I'm guessing there's enough woods that there's some place for Sibo to be living.
Oh yeah, there are plenty of woods. To
Um,
the southeast is probably where you're from. Plenty of elves and pan worshippers in that region, the
Yeah.
Harken Forest.
And so, with, since everything is being so badly messed up with this storm, he kind of took it upon himself, slash, was semi divinely inspired to go find the people who were trying to fix this.
Okay, very cool. And Doc, what does Toki have? What is their stake in
Well,
this?
Dokuri is not really connected to any organizations or has any real, political inclination to be here, except that she is a bit of a free spirit, allegedly a master thief, allegedly. And so got a bit of that wanderlust, and she's a frequent traveler, doesn't really settle down anywhere in one place for too long. And normally, as an Aarakocra, that's fine. That's easy. You go here, you go there, you're done with this town, you just take off and you land somewhere else. Not so much during a month-long storm, and it's kind of getting to her.
It's cramping her style.
Exactly.
All right. And last but not least, what's Screg? What's Screg up to? What's
Greg is the wounds are still a bit raw since he's broken away from Cord, and Cord being the god of storms and war, nothing would give him greater pleasure and a bit of cathartic release than to um, put an end to what he sees as the embodiment of Cord in this unnatural storm, and he can
Gotcha.
thumb his beard at Cord in that way.
so it's personal?
Yes.
And I thought my breakups are bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell hath no fury than someone who previously was on the side of heaven, apparently. Very
I mean,
cool.
hey, it works for Lucy.
So we open with all of you gathered together in the very cramped hall of Lord Warden McElray. The Lord Warden of Fallcrest is the one who is unofficially sponsoring this. He said, anyone who's interested, go to Thunderspire Peak. We will give you gold. We will give you support what you need to get there, but we need someone to get there. The hall is cramped because it is filled with refugees. The Fall Crest, the river has flooded much of the lower city, and they're jamming hundreds of people into what used to be the McElray family's personal residence. The Septarch's Tower is similarly filled with displaced people. You are given enough supplies and climbing equipment to get to and hopefully up Thunderspire Peak. But you are warned as you are heading out that there are some people, perhaps in the lower city, who have taken advantage of the situation and may be disinclined to let people who are carrying valuable things go by. So we're going to open with you guys leaving this great hall. The question is, you're heading east. You can try and get a river and ride the White Rapids. You can try and ford through the swamped lower city. What do you do? How are you gonna get out of Fallcrest?
I'm going to go ahead and nominate the swamp. It's probably the quietest way out.
Yeah, Greg would not
Yeah.
be excited about the idea of getting on a boat. Dwarves and water don't mix well.
Yeah. Neither option seems particularly pleasant, but we seem less likely to lose things if we're not trying to ride rapids and keep track of all our belongings at the same time.
Fair. That's very fair. Okay. So how are you getting through the lower city? Do you want to try and be quiet? You want to try and be quick? Do you want to try and be safe? You can only choose one of those.
My vote is for safe.
Yeah. On the
Yeah.
quiet thing, I'm wearing chainmail, so
Okay. All right. So you head down to the lower city, and it truly is like a swamp now. Most of the dock has just been washed away. there is uniformly water up to your shins. So that's about up to your knees for Screg and anyone not human sized. You take the time to stick to areas that were well paved, some of the old roads that were originally built by the Narathi Empire that still survive. That keeps you from going any deeper, and I'll say that it doesn't slow you down if things come to combat. If you had chosen to go quicker or quieter, you probably would have had to ford through some pretty like waist deep water at some point. But for now, you are making it through the lower city, and you get to one of the squares. They call it Eagle Square because it has a big statue of an eagle there. And there are a trio of men hanging out on the fount, like actually hanging off of the thing to stay out of the water. One of them has a crossbow sort of over one shoulder, and they're talking and laughing. One of them looks over and goes, "Hello, hello, hello. Didn't know anyone else was braving things out here."
I would like to begin, as I'm not interacting with them with this role, but I would like to use a bonus action to make a perception check to spot hidden creatures or objects.
No worries. Go ahead and roll perception for me. It doesn't take like an action or anything. Just generally keep an eye out.
Well, I took the inquisitive rogue not rogue rogue path archetype.
Okay.
So that is something I can do, and that is a 10 plus perception is plus 5, so 15.
15. You know that there is someone in the far building behind them because you can smell their campfire. They're like trying to cook something in there. Probably started the fire trying to be out of the howling wind, which is buffeting you all and drenching you. But otherwise, it's these 3 plus 1 in the house.
Greg will just disregard them and continue to walk in the direction they need to go. To him, they're nothing and they're inconsequential to his task.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't seem to like that. As you're like you don't respond and you get closer and you're going around the fountain. One of them hops off and lands and like steps in front of you. Goes, "Now that's not very neighborly. You just ignore me like that. We're out here in the storm. We could have been in danger and in need of help. And here you are, tramping past like we're nothing."
I draw my bow.
Don't really have anything to draw.
I'm not pointing it, but I have it out and I have a narrow knock.
Yeah, the one hanging off the fountain just slowly lets his crossbow slide down to his waist.
Is it hanging down or is he pointing it at me?
It is in a position where it's going to take less effort for him to aim it. He's not actively aiming it at you, but he's more or less doing the same thing you're doing, is being ready. The one standing in front of Screg kind of leans forward, goes, "Come on there, Grey Dwarf. You've got nothing to say."
I will look him square in the chest because that's probably as I like, and say, "So you need help?"
"Well, as a matter of fact, we do." And he looks over at his friends. Goes, "You know, gosh, all our funds just got washed away. We've been looking left and right for a lost purse of gold." And
I don't let him finish speaking. I shoot the guy with the crossbow.
all right, roll initiative.
17 plus 4, 21.
All right, 18 plus 1, 19. You beat it. Go ahead and make your attack roll.
Okay. That is a 15 plus 7. That is a 22.
Hits.
Okay, and that is short bow, 1d6 plus 4.
1d6 plus 4.
6 damage.
6 damage. You shoot him like in the arm that's coming up with the crossbow. He tumbles from the statue, and they immediately just scatter. they're gonna bolt and run at that.
I'm sorry, I seem to have lost an arrow. Says.
As you guys are continue on your way, the guy in the house didn't hear any of that. Steps out and goes, "Hey, stew's ready." Hi, where are they going? Oh, you. All right.
You might want to go back into the house.
Actually, Screg is intrigued by this stew.
you just take the bowl out of his hand as you're walking by.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, the stew is not bad. It's a little underseasoned, but clearly they don't have much that they're working with. But it's rabbit. It's good stew.
So rabbit is luxury from what he's been eating lately.
Fantastic. All right. Well, the rest of the trip through the lower city is entirely uneventful. You scared them. They scattered. They're not bothering you, though they will likely continue looting. It takes most of the day to get through the city, and you mercifully get to sleep the night in one of the guard towers for the eastern wall, which is no longer manned. It's just empty, but it is dry, and you get out of the driving rain. From here on in, there's very little cover for you to take shelter from the rain. You may be able to find a copse of tree here or there, but it's a 2 to 3 day trip to the Thunder Spire Peak, and it's going to be rough. So here's what we're going to do. You are all going to roll 1d20, and we will just narrate from highest to lowest. You're going to narrate for me something that happened during the trip. This is a montage, just something that happened. If you roll evens, it's probably something pleasant. If you rolled odds, it's probably something unpleasant. So, everyone roll 1d20 for me.
It's a 12.
Got a 3.
So, all right, even's good or even's bad?
Even's good, odds bad. So 12 goes first. So on the first day of the trip, what happens? For, just what's some event, some moment.
It's late on the first day, and the weather is miserable. We're looking for a place to camp that's going to be slightly less miserable, and we managed to find a cave that doesn't appear to have anything horrible living in it.
Nice.
It's not a deep cave, but it's enough that we can get a decent campfire going and dry out a little bit.
Nice. Get to take those boots off, dry out the feet. Super important. Very cool. I think Norm got a 7, right?
Yes.
So day 2. What's something unpleasant that happens to the group?
Well, I think for Screg, he's probably going to start the day by casting Find Steed. But whichever god has chosen to grant him his new spells chose not to grant this one. So he's been forced to walk along, and he's been grumpy and irritable the whole day, just getting on everyone's nerves.
What would be the kind of steed that Cord would grant?
I think Cord would probably grant for a dwarf. I imagine it's a some sort of mountain goat or large mountain goat.
So you cast Find Steed, and a big war ready mountain goat like trots into view, looks at you, is meh, and like bolts. Cord has not forgotten the Oathbreaker. Very cool. And then I think Doc was at 4.
So
the third day of travel. Yeah.
Third day of travel, and it's something positive. So what I think we happens is we find like a little copse of trees to make camp in, and it's kind of miserable. Like the ground is all marshy and so on. However, being as observative and inquisitive as she notices that this actually is a route that other Aracrocas have traveled before, and she actually checks up in the branches and finds a little traveler's supply cache, and we have some fairly dry rations.
Nice, nice. What kind of rations? Are they
Mostly
delicious
jerky.
Aarakocra grubs?
Just grub jerky, actually.
Grub
Not that
jerky.
common. She loves them.
Oh, that's
The trick is to smoke them inside the shell, so
ah.
then you get it out.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and it like insulates it, so you actually can travel with little pod and just pull the jerky out when you need. That's both charming and gross at the same time.
That is my brand.
All right, and the final day. This is the day that leads you to the foot of the Thunder Spire Mountain. Um, Wes,
So
what bad
um,
thing?
we're all, or at least Sibo is now excited enough to have actually gotten here after 3 days of, well, 3.5 days of like garbage weather and questionable food and grumpy dwarves. And misjudging the ground underneath him, he sinks into the mud, which isn't very hard if you're a gnome. And I think everyone else ends up getting caught, possibly. Well, I don't know. There's just like a very muddy area, and it gets into your like boots and it gets into your clothes, and you can wash off some of it, but because there's no like actual like place to go that isn't in the rain or in the mud, everything is just like slightly more gross now and slightly more unpleasant.
Super gross. Awesome. All right. And that was the fourth day of travel. Like I said, it brings you up to the foot of this mountain. It's off of the road that leads from Fallcrest to Hammerfast. There's a trade road that's very well paved and very well protected, usually by riders. The Thunderspire Mountain is just to the north of that and sort of overlooks the road. Um, in days gone past, there are rumors that there was a kingdom in the mountain, and various historians disagree whether it was Durgar, whether it was dwarf, whether it was dragonborn or minotaur. No one's really in agreement as to the exact nature of this old kingdom. In any case, you've got a bit of a climb ahead of you, about a day, maybe two. Um, and it may be exhausting. So everyone give me an athletics check. Uh,
Athletics.
and this is going to represent how well you handle this very arduous climb. If it weren't storming, you might be able to like take your time and take it easy, but slick rock forces you to keep moving because at any moment what was once solid ground can just slip away beneath you.
Descent. No, cinq, descent. 15.
15?
I don't know why I'm going for French. It just popped into my head.
Also 15.
All right.
Please.
16 for me.
16. You guys are doing great so far. What about Wes?
19.
Look at that. Tough. This is you're all tough mutters. That's why maybe you are so prepared for this. Like you got climbing gear, you got like oiled cloaks that are helping with the weather, and you're ready for this. Um, over the course of the day, you climb the Thunder Spire. It smells constantly of the churning, rich mud smell just rolling off this mountain. The air
I
is
love it.
tinged with ozone and electricity, just always ready. And certainly the sky is various shades of gray and purple and blue, singed through and shot through with occasional flashes of lightning. Um, the clouds overhead seem to boil around the very top. And after that first day, you actually find a very flat expanse of solid rock that looks like it'll hold you for the night. But there's someone already there. A woman, it seems, crouched down behind a rock against this driving rain, clutching some bundle, looks like a cloak bundled up that she was previously wearing. She has very long, tapered ears, more long and tapered than an elf, even. This is an Eladrin woman. What do you do?
Hail, stranger. Oh, yeah, but over the wind. So, hail, stranger.
She manages to look up. She has completely green eyes, and her clothes, as they are mud stained and travel worn emerald as well. She goes, "If you've come to kill me, you'd best do it quick before my magic powers return." And she's like shaking and like pulls this bundle away from all of you.
You need healing.
Hands up.
Oh,
Slow
wait,
approach.
she just asked her to kill her. Why aren't we doing that?
Seeking Screg. Actually, question: would Screg have discussed his crisis of faith with any of us?
That's a good
Uh,
question.
Probably not, but given that he's probably wearing accoutrement that would lend himself to being a paladin of Cord, but he's been using profanities about Cord the whole time, you probably can surmise that there's a bit of friction there between the two of them.
Going to say, Screg, perhaps confrontational. Let's not go Cord style today. Just say, and I said like over the howling wind as I'm approaching slowly. Turn back to see if she's like pointed a lightning bolt at me or something.
No. When
The
and
arms are also catching more wind than I would approaching free. So
I'm sorry, Wes. Your character's name?
Sibo.
Sibo. Okay, I knew it started with a C or S sound. When Sibo mentions healing, they obviously look excited, but there's also a very haughty, very Eladrin kind of pride at work. So, like, very visibly interested, but doesn't say, "Yes, I need healing."
Aradani is also hands open. Tell me, stranger, what reason might we have for killing you?
I don't know, but I've been treated with cruelty and disregard lately, and have come to expect the worst.
well, if it's all the same to you, I'd rather make camp and warm up. You're welcome to join us, unless any of you have any objections. And you guys aren't great at reading Aarakocra expressions, but so far as you can surmise, intense would probably fit this one.
So Toki has invited her to make camp with you all. What do you think?
Well, if we're not killing her, I don't see why not.
The switch is thrown one way or the other.
I offer her a bug.
Self-defense or murder.
She's not in distress. She's obviously in distress of some kind. So, yeah, seems legit.
Okay.
Can I make an insight check, just because there's a little bit of suspicion as to her true motives?
Sure. What do you want insight about her? You said her true motives, so you're looking for maybe why she's on this mountain in the first place?
Yeah, if there's maybe she's playing the lost kind of victim, or maybe if there's anything more to it than that.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and roll insight.
That is an 11.
Okay. Um, it doesn't take much. As soon as there's a fire going, and you find an overhang that covers you from the wind and rain, enough to get a very modest fire going. Not enough to dry you off, but enough to give you some warmth. And when that happens, she scoots over and she sets her bundle between her legs and tries to warm her hands. Screg, you notice that she's wearing climbing gloves. But she says that she came here to end the storm. She says that I recognized what this was, and being exiled from the magic communities of Septox Tower and Fallcrest, my thought was to end this crisis and return a hero. But the going is far more difficult than I thought.
Well,
Are-
take it from
are-
me. I usually fly solo, and there's not much flying or solo right now, so we're of a similar disposition, you could say. And while we do this, I do want to keep an eye on the bundle.
Mhm.
Is it at all child shaped?
It is not. It is not. It
Okay.
is very round.
Okay.
Aradani has, up until this point, been mostly indifferent. As long as this woman isn't really impeding their goal in one way or another, sure, she can camp with us. But since she has said that she is trying to end the storm, she is definitely much more interested now. And she says to the woman, um, it seems we've come to the mountain on similar goals. Perhaps we could be of aid to each other.
She draws herself up, and once more, this is like she doesn't want to say that she's interested in your health because she's an Eladrin and she's a powerful spellcaster, and of course she can handle herself. But she goes, "It would be prudent, I think, to enlist some sort of aid. I confess, I made it nearly to the top. The very caldera of this extinct volcano. The winds were too much. I cannot imagine even such as yourself being able to mount the very peak. But you may be able to help me find a passage through the caldera's rim inside the mountain. And if we can get to the epicenter of this storm, I will be able to contain it and end its ravaging effects."
So as she says that, I think this whole time Tokri has had the hood of her cloak up, very mysterious ranger, very strider kind of aesthetic going on. So she pulls that back now that we're, out of the wind, out of the, well, as out of it as we can be. I'm Tokri of the night. And she kind of, doffs a little bit and extends a hand.
The Eladrin extends her own hand. After a moment's hesitation, she goes, "I am Cyraste, Archnothic, the full crest formerly of the Septox Tower. Who are the rest of you?"
It's Greg.
I am Sibo. I am a cleric of Pan.
My people know Pan, a worthy god.
I am Aradani Ilavan.
I'm thankful I have met you. I was beginning to despair that I would not be able to reach the top and find my redemption.
At the word redemption, Tokri picks up just a little bit. Just
Yep.
very subtle. You have to be paying attention to catch it.
Sure. Cyrasti sort of sinks back into herself and once more pulls up the bundle and hugs around it, her eyes going distant and pensive. Yeah. What else do you guys do for the night?
I am going to continue talking to Cyrasti.
Okay.
So, you say you know what the storm is, yes?
Yes.
Surely it would be helpful if we have a little more information.
that haughty pride once more pricks up, and she straightens. She goes, "I suppose I can reduce it for you in a manner you may understand. You see, I am a long-time historian of this vale and my people's place in it. Consequently, I become very familiar with portals, places of thinness in the world, where one bleeds over into the other. The Thunderspire Peak is one of these thin places. It is not hard to see that this is an elemental conjuration. Someone has weakened the walls between worlds so much, perhaps on purpose, that they are allowing the elements themselves to bleed into this world. Does that make sense, or should I use... I do know shorter words, if that would help.
Um,
That follows.
Aradani is she's so offended at being assumed to be stupid that she's not entirely sure how to respond to that.
Welcome to Cyrasti. She's shown up in a couple of the other games as well. She's always
He
fun.
has.
Um,
Last
I
time
am-
on the Phantom Rule Booth.
I am skilled at both Arcana and History.
Ooh.
Can
Okay.
I
Why don't
see?
you roll your choice with advantage? The assumption being that will determine which of those proves more useful to verifying her claims as to what's going on.
I'm gonna go with Arcana. They're both the same modifier, so that is gonna be a 19.
Okay. This close to the storm, now that you're no longer sort of in it on the periphery before the mountain, you do see that there's absolutely truth to what she's saying. This is not just an unnatural storm. This is a storm of elemental power. You see these sort of roving gusts of wind. You see rock sailing through the air and sort of undulating under the power of the storm. All of them are at work. The lightning sort of is part of fire. The air broiling around, water draining down, the earth seeming to tremble at the storm, and the fact that it's unmoving at the top of an extinct volcano. All that, like all your past classes on how to spot an elemental storm are like flooding back.
You may be at an intersection of planes if
Yeah.
Jeff Foxworthy, mage tutor.
419. You do know that her suspicions of this being intentional are more likely true than not. While the Thunderspire Peak has a reputation of being a thin place, it shouldn't be this thin, and it would have likely taken some effort to open up whatever rift there is, whatever bleed through there is at the top of this mountain. It's likely someone's doing.
Yes, I do see now that this is. I believe you are right. This is clearly an elemental. Do you have any idea who might have wanted to do this?
I have my suspicions. Those in full crest who are less innocent than they would appear, one of whom is my rival at the Septarch's Tower, Pietro Perdido. He claims he's an archmage of some sort, but he's a charlatan. The prince of the Aarakocra and his human consort Thaddeus have always had it out for me. Any of them, I think, could have done this.
Not my prince. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
While this is going on, Sibo is still interested in the fact that she seemed sort of receptive to the idea of some healing.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's like a lull in the conversation, he like goes over to her and he's much shorter than her. So there's a lot of, even though I think she's sitting, there's a lot of like,
There's eye contact, even though one person's sitting, the other's standing. Yeah.
yes. And he says, uh, I admit that my healing abilities are not as great as those of someone who is of the life domain, but I do believe that I could help you, or at the very least, uh, give. He's trying to figure out a way to say this without immediately offending her
May
pride,
I
but he also
assist?
spends
Out
most
of character,
his
may I
words.
assist?
Yeah.
So being the inquisitive type, I just want, like, there's not much room, I think, to kind of pace around, but there is like a little bit of wiggle room. We're not all like in
Right.
huddling kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he just kind of passes by, leans down, and because it's very difficult to read the lips of an Aarakocra, she just leans back down and says, "You are enabling her to better do her task," and then keeps walking off.
Um. Like with a vague nod of thanks in your direction, he says, in order that you may be able to do your own work better once your magical abilities return.
Of course. Of course. Yes. That would be amenable, I think. Yes, do that. You can go ahead and make a medicine check or just cast healing spell or both if you want.
I'm going to cast, and maybe this is a waste of a spell, but I am a nice person. I'm going to cast Cure Wounds at at a as a second level spell,
Okay.
which
Okay.
means I now do um spellcasting modifier is the same thing as spell attack bonus, right?
The modifier is whatever ability modifier. So it's no proficiency.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
Sorry.
No worries. It's probably around +2 or +3, +4, something there. You're level 5, so yeah.
Total of 16 hit points of
Nice.
healing.
Okay. So you chant your prayer and cast the spell on her, and she does seem to get some more vigor, some more life back into her. She straightens up more, and you realize she might have had a broken rib, like
Oh,
she had been slumped a little to one side. That might be why, and had again just been too proud to say anything about it. But all these bruises and contusions that she got apparently from the fall from near the rim of the caldera, many of those disappear, begin to fade, and she seems much more comfortable and well disposed. Anything else you want to do for the night?
Is everyone else done? I just want to cap it off. Like mine was more of as a capstone kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm done.
yeah.
Okay. So one thing you guys will be familiar with, and like this is more of a visual thing, is the Tokri would be her feathers are kind of like a charcoal gray. And this is something that she hasn't been able to do on the journey, except for that first night where we slept in the tower. Is she takes out what looks like a disguise kit, like what if you guys have ever worked with rogues or thieves or assassins or whatever, you might recognize it. But all she does is she takes out oils and dyes and pigments, and they're all like sleek, shiny blacks, and she, treats her feathers and comes out black. And so that's been washed away. It's kind of just like clumped into the roots and like it's just very disheveled. And so she kind of rounds off, like, kind of back against the wall, gazing out into the storm, doing that, and just kind of whistling. You guys don't really know how to place it as music. It's not something that falls into any, musical traditions of your races or cultures, but stormy seems right. It's something stormy.
Song of Storms from Zelda. Yep.
In my mind, and it's the most terrible. Like I'm trying to be genuine with this, but it's a fucking meme song, so it comes off as like me trying to be an ass. But I picture kind of the whistling part from Big Enough,
Okay.
but like a little bit sadder.
Okay. Fair. Fair. Um, the night passes not comfortably, but more comfortably than some of the nights have passed out on the open terrain uh, leading up to the mountain. Uh, come morning, uh, the rain has not abated. Like normally, when storms go through the night, next morning they abate. But like you're getting used to now, you just wake up to thunder crack and lightning strike. Some of it quite near. Cyraste once more emphasizes that she could not make the climb up and thinks that that is going to be nearly impossible. She suggests she knows that there are passages through the rim of this caldera because there was once a civilization here, and this was where they lived. They had to have made some way to get through this really tough climb instead of doing it.
Did someone say secret doors?
So, um, how are each of you going to try and find a passage through? Are you looking for breaks in the terrain? Are you drawing on your knowledge of history? Are you looking for maybe magical illusions hiding a door? Like, tell me how your character is specifically going to help this search for a way through.
Okay,
And we'll
so-
start. We'll start at the bottom with Sibo.
Um, I can change it to something else if this doesn't work at all. But are there like any like small creatures, or have they all been driven away by the storm?
They're actually in the cave with you. You come to find there's uh, plenty of very scared varmints in the back of the cave that were also of the mind to get out of the rain.
Okay, then I'm going to use my forest gnome trait of speak with small beasts
Okay.
to like obviously they don't have like as much complex language as one of the like sapient races, but I'm like trying to like ask them, do you know any way into like further into the mountain than this? That sort of
Uh,
idea.
They're
okay.
not as verbose as Bradford.
Yeah. Okay. What's a good mountainous varmint? I was thinking a hedgehog, but I don't actually know what their climate or topology is. Um,
They live in Green Hill Zone.
okay. Yeah. Yes. It's a Geodude. No,
Oh my god.
no. This is we'll call it. We'll just make up a fantasy creature. Why not? It's a stone rat, and they're like a cross between a rat and a pangolin. That has this like natural stone camouflage, and that's why you guys didn't see it last night. But what? So what do you ask it? Because you can now speak to it.
Um, is there any way like are there any I can't just flat out ask are there any secret passages because does it understand the concept of secret?
Right.
Um, are there any other ways I guess are there any other caves or enclosed spaces than this one?
Hey, I like caves. You like caves? I'm in caves. This cave, you looking for other cave?
Yes.
There's another cave. It's up near the rim. It's two caves, back to back. Two caves making one cave.
Um,
Do you want to go to that cave?
sure.
Oh, it's loud in there. That cave, it's loud. Don't go in there if you want to go. But if you gotta go in there, go in there. But it's loud. Lots of, and it just starts like tapping its claws on the ground. Loud cave. Don't like that. Both caves. Nope.
Where is the loud cave?
Oh, it's up there. It's you find a big rock. Looks like a larger rock. But then if you go around that two times, like I did, and then you go straight through, looks like a wall, but it's not a wall. Go in. That's one part of the cave. Uh, it gives you almost helpful directions, such that the next person gets advantage on their skill check.
Excellent.
Um,
I give it like a tiny piece of like jerky from our supplies or something.
Hey, this good grub, doesn't taste like a normal grub. I like it anyway, thanks. All right, and we'll go counterclockwise. Yaz.
I'm going to use my knowledge of history to see if I know anything about this cave that's two caves.
Okay, go ahead and roll history, and now you have advantage because you know generally where it might be, and you might be able to corroborate that with something you read.
10.
Okay, 10. You got advantage on that.
Yeah, I just
You
didn't
got
roll
10.
well.
Okay, I mean, I'm not saying you're letting everyone down, but no, I'm kidding. So,
We're not mad. We're
unfortunately,
just disappointed.
you're not able to you know that there's some sort of pattern to the passages cut into the mountain, but you don't remember if they're orthogonal or diagonal to the road, and that's like a big difference. It's like a 6 mile difference between where it could be. We'll keep going around counterclockwise, and that is Norm. What is Screg doing to help?
Screg's going to use his stone cunning to make
Nice.
a intelligence history check to work if he can identify any likely entry points into the mountain or passages or anything like that.
Yep, so you'll also get advantage.
Oh, a natural 20
All right, you found it.
and an
There we
18.
There you go. Yeah, that's more than enough. With Sibo's description of where things are, and you manage to go like, okay, well, it can't be on like the orthogonal pattern because then you're cutting into like this whole shale side that we saw, and no shale
Yep.
is going to hold like a passage to the mountain. So clearly, the rock formations here these are the right kinds of rock that'll support a tunnel, and you are able to, with the stone rat's direction.
So what you're saying is that he's my cousin Vinnying the rocks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you never have a tunnel through shale. It's a terrible tunnel. That's why you don't know about the Great Shale Tunnel, because no one would ever dig a tunnel through shale. It's terrible practice.
Yeah.
I haven't done that since '77.
I'm missing a reference.
My Cousin Vinny, great movie. Check it out.
Great movie.
So you managed to find this tunnel. It is about 20 feet by 20 feet, and it's very square. It doesn't look like it was made by dwarves or any species that you sort of intuitively recognize. It's not Eladrin.
So it's not a good tunnel.
Yeah. Oh, it's just, yeah. As far as you're concerned, it's shitty tunnel. It's got these weird they look like garlic knots, like symbols all over it. You're not into it. Like this is. It doesn't have a key like a keystone.
No arches.
No arches at all.
Support beams.
It's more form over function. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I'll see if you were good at for would be function.
Inside there is no light. Who has dark vision?
I have lots of dark vision.
I also have light. The cantrip.
Okay.
I have dark vision.
Yeah, I have dark vision out to 120 feet. So
okay.
Yeah. Same.
Okay. So I think only Toki is is unable to see and would
Toki of the night, the only one who can't see in the dark.
Perfect. That is D&D in a nutshell.
Yep.
It is. Yep. It's like, I'm Gordo the axe. Oh, what weapon do you use? A polearm, like a pike.
I wrote axe on it.
Yeah. I wrote axe before I realized that I would get this magic sword. It's okay. What is everyone's passive perception?
Passive perception.
This is where I
10.
forget how to calculate that.
11.
15.
So very simply, 10 plus your perception modifier.
15. Actually,
13.
it should be the other way around. That just looks good to me because the thing's mirrored.
Okay.
Durr.
Okay. So you all hear as you're heading into this, and the light behind you and the thunderous roar of the storm behind you is going. You hear sort of echoing from up ahead as the tunnel goes, and it branches out into a much larger open space, such that you can't see the wall at all times. You can't see the ceiling at all times. It is a very big tunnel, and perhaps more sprawling and labyrinthian than initially anticipated. But you can hear a very deliberate tapping. And we're going to pause there and take a short break for everyone to like be human and like do human things, go to the bathroom if you need. I don't know if Marcy is back from
A little bit more
walking the
wiggly.
dog, so I'm gonna go check to see if she can pause the stream momentarily.
Very well.
I know she had to walk the dog, and I will be right back. Otherwise, you guys just stare straight into the cameras, give some really intense eye contact for our audience. So we are back.
Right out of the jar.
The group has made it to Thunderspire Peak. They have met the exiled Eladrin sorceress, Cyraste, and she's gone with them to help maybe end this terrible, unending storm. They managed to get onto the mountain and find a passage through the rim of the caldera that will lead right out to the epicenter of this storm. But while they're there, while they're in this great tunnel from an unknown civilization, they've heard a tap, tap, tapping. And one of the characters here is uniquely familiar with this tapping. Screg is a Durgar and would know, I think, what a hook horror sounds like.
Definitely.
Yeah. And that no check needed for this. Your character
Yep.
100% knows that tapping, that is a hook horror. At least one, and you listen, nope, that's two. It's two
Good
hook
ending.
horrors. Cyraste, this whole time she's been following you, and she's kept that bundle clutched to her chest. And she asks what that is.
Hookar.
Hook horror?
Yeah.
Should we not avoid?
The name is a bit misleading. They don't really
It's
have
more
hooks,
it's more of a hook
but they are
thriller.
horrors.
Should we not avoid these creatures?
Well, they'll probably find us before we find them.
Her eyes go wide.
So
Yeah, he says that, and I immediately cast Mage Armor on myself.
what Tokri is doing is she has actually removed her outer cloak, put that down on the cave floor for a while. She'll come back for that later. But so there will be no, wet flapping or slapping. And she immediately just kind of, well, I'm going to have to make the roll, but I want to stealth up and kind of stick to the walls and start stealthing around.
Okay. So what is your guys' plan? Are you going to try and confront them on your terms? Or are you going to try and avoid the hook horrors? Are you going to charge in swinging? What's the plan here?
I'm all for going in axes blazing.
No one's surprised.
Which is why I hit them from behind. I think I've gathered his disposition on the road.
I would prefer to avoid them if possible, but if not, I'd rather go on our terms.
Okay. What does Sibo think? I think Wes froze.
Yes.
Oh no.
Sibo is paralyzed with fear.
It's true. Let's give them a little bit to possibly jump back on.
In the meantime, I'll make that roll, I guess.
Yeah. In any case, if there's going to be stealth, go ahead and roll stealth.
Yes. Regardless if we're trying to sneak past or if we're trying to gut them like fishes, I'm still rolling stealth, and that's a 19.
Okay. Ooh, okay. Okay. Let me
Maybe
contact them on Discord, see if...
Yeah, I was about to say.
No.
Oh,
Oh,
He's back.
there you are.
Sorry.
No worries.
My internet just completely gave up on me for some reason.
No worries. We may, because it rearranged. Okay, yeah, it looks like it switched people around. Dream and Wonder is still in the same place, at least. And I am, yay.
I am. Hey.
So, our dear tech person will undoubtedly try and fix that at some point.
The sad part is that no one has been switched around to try and usurp the throne of GM.
Good luck. I will fight you.
And then everyone got ponies. Big
so,
pony.
Wes,
Beautiful
what was your desire? Do you want to charge in, fight them on your terms? That is, try and ambush them, or try and sneak around these hook horrors.
Ambush.
Ambush. Okay. That's fair. Maybe it's better to not leave these things behind you if you sneak by successfully. Nonetheless, everyone roll stealth. If you're wearing heavy armor, don't forget to apply disadvantage. Now I've already rolled their perceptions that you are contesting.
9.
Okay.
2.
12.
All right.
But my heart's not really in it. I'm not a stealthy kind of guy.
Clang, clang, clang.
Yeah, so you all take up positions to try and ambush these things, and they look like a cross between a goose and a beetle.
God.
They are these large, like 10 feet tall creatures. Instead of arms, they have just these big scythes and like these little tiny opposable claws as well. And these are what they use to tap the ground. They can see by echolocation.
Oh, scarabs, not Ringo.
So, none of you passed your stealth check against these creatures. They tap their way into like the ambush zone, and they immediately are like looking to your different hiding places. And then, as one, they let out a scraw and charge. So everyone, roll initiative.
Oh, sweet heavens. I am not good at dexterity rolls.
I'm fantastic at dexterity rolls. And that is a 14 for me.
13.
Is a 6.
Okay. Did anyone get higher than 16?
Nope.
Okay.
Ooh.
Did anyone get lower than 8?
Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
Okay. So that's going to
Nope for
be
me. I didn't mean to speak for everyone.
Screg and I'm sorry, Yaz, what's your character's name?
Aradani.
Aridani. All right. So it's going to go Hook Horror 1, then Doc and Wes, then Hook Horror 2, then Skeg and Aridani. The first Hook Horror charges the dwarf. Screg was not super invested in stealth to begin with. So it identifies the loudest member of the group and charges. It makes 2 attacks. What's your AC?
16.
Oof. Its 2 hooks slam down. One of them skips off your armor, just barely saving you. It missed both times. Doc and Wes.
Are we tied on initiative or?
Because your PCs, I don't care which of you goes
Okay.
first or second within your little slot.
If you want Wes, or I can.
Who here has like really cruddy AC?
15.
I have 14, but I've already got mage armor on me. So
Okay. Then
Maybe
I
you.
yeah, actually not really, but I'm still going to cast Shield of Faith on myself.
All right. And what does that do?
It means I have +2 AC, except that it's a concentration spell, so I can't like
Cast other. Yep. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Toki.
Okay, so as a bonus action on my turn, I will use. Sorry, I'm using the Inquisitive Rogue template.
Mhm.
So I will use my Insightful Fighting to make a Wisdom Insight check versus their Charisma Deception check.
You need to beat a 9.
Nat 20.
Okay, you're good.
Okay, so I may use my sneak attack against that target even if I don't have advantage on the attack roll, but not if I have disadvantage against it.
Got it.
Okay, cool. So,
which is a good point because you were setting up for stealth. Presumably, you didn't have light for stealth, and you're the only one without dark vision.
yes,
So
I will navigate this by the sparks off Screg's armor.
yeah. So unfortunately, you will have disadvantage until there's a source of light, like a torch or something. And Cyrase may be able to help, but she is the dead last of initiative.
Ooh.
Well, regardless, I will move up behind it.
Okay.
And I will attack. So it's so I'm watching it as best as I can.
Yeah, it is. There is still like ambient light because there's still light coming in from cracks in the ceiling and up ahead and far behind. There's the briefest, barest light, so it's not 100%.
Is it all thunder flashes?
Yeah. This is a very dramatic chiaroscuro moment.
Hell yeah. Okay, so I see the claws come in, clang, scratch, and I just kind of not quite a pirouette, but like a low tactical movement behind it. And I thrust my rapier up into the small of its back.
Okay, go and roll your attack roll. AC is
and
50.
I have disadvantage, correct?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I gotta show the camera that.
Oh.
So yes, 19 plus 20
hits. You only need to be 15 here.
Okay.
Go and roll
so
damage.
That is D6 of damage plus my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Actions, attack, D6. Wait, no, yeah, D6. No, D8. It's a rapier. Haha. 7 plus 4, so 11 damage.
11 damage. Your blade bites in between two slats of its natural armor, and there's a brief bubble of ichor. It is now Hook Horror 2's turn. It is going to charge the gnome. It's coming after the gnome. Yep.
Oh,
So it's like the opposite direction as the other one. 7 plus 6 is a miss. Second attack is definitely a hit. And it takes... I'll let you roll your own damage. You take 2d6 plus 4 damage.
You are the cruelest Dom. Choose
Yeah, I know.
your own punishment.
Yeah, no, that's...
I have to roll it myself?
Yeah.
Ah.
Choose the switch.
It's definitely because I'm being cruel and not because I forgot to bring more dice upstairs.
2d6 plus 4?
Yep.
Okay, then I take 12 damage.
Yep. And then it is Screg and Aridani's turn.
How far are both of these things from me?
From you, they're within 30 feet, so you can get into movement range, like melee range, if you want or need to.
I don't want to, but within 30 feet is good because I am going to cast a twinned witch bolt on both of these.
AC is 15.
All right, that hits both of them.
Nice.
Do you want me to roll damage separately for them, or just apply the same damage to both of them? Since
Same damage twice.
Same damage twice. Okay. That is for the first round. That is a 2d12 to each of them.
Nice.
So that is a 15 lightning damage to each of these.
Nice.
And I'm going to move so that I am within 30 feet of them, but not close to them.
Gotcha. Not within melee. Okay. Screg, you're up.
So Screg will just uh, brandish his battle axe in both hands and just swing away.
Swing away.
Come swing away. Come swing.
So the first one is first attack is 26,
Hits.
which is 13 points of damage, and the second attack
Is definitely bloodied.
is only a 13.
Only a 13. 13 is a miss. So it your axe buries deep in its flank and it recoils, batting your axe aside and stepping back. As your second attack comes in, it like grabs the axe and there's a brief wrestle and you manage to wrench the axe out back into your control, but you don't get the hit in. That was Screg and Eridani. Cyraste is going to cast light. So now, Doc, now you no longer have to fight in the dark. These things briefly screech, but they just close their eyes. They can see perfectly fine without them. Back to the top. The one that Screg is fighting is going to direct one attack at Screg, and Toki did attack it, so it's going to like try and bat backwards and swing.
I would like to try. I would like to maybe respond with something a little unorthodox. So this is a little bit of an improvisation. But I would like to not pull my weapon out of it. So I'd like to
Okay.
try and hold on to it.
Okay. It rolled 17 to hit. So you're going to take 2d6 plus 4 damage. You're like holding on to it, and that's the reason it hits. You could have like pulled it out or let go, but you decided you want to hold on to it, and it
That's
does
fine.
bat you. Screg, it's still struggling to hit you. It's
So
again
2d6 of damage.
Yeah, I've
9
done this
damage on
damage
me.
before.
yeah. Like this is the Durgar version of like apple picking season is when you go hunt down some hook horrors.
Yeah, we have horror Halloween.
We've been forced legally to not call it hooking night.
All right. Toki and Sibo.
Okay.
Toki, you had some idea in mind for keeping
Yeah.
your blade buried, I'm
So-
guessing.
Yes, because I'm going to pull out my dagger with my other hand, and since I have him held, I'd like to try and gain advantage in my second attack using that.
Sure, why not?
And since now there's light, it's actual advantage.
Exactly.
That is a 24 to hit.
Hits.
And that is a dagger, which is a d4, but sneak attack dice.
Nice.
This is why I love rogues.
Rogues are always fun.
let's
They're
see.
one of my favorite classes. Swashbucklers. Great rogues.
25 damage.
25. It
For
is
those of you paying attention,
it is very
in my head,
poorly.
it is now playing the Shadow of the Colossus victory theme.
It is not happy. It is now screeching in desperation and pain. It is very close to death, but not dead yet. Sibo.
Since I'm holding a concentration spell, make plants grow does not actually work the way I wished it did.
Oh no.
I am instead just going to hit it over the head with a mace, or the one that just attacked me over the head with a mace,
Okay.
which I think is plus, which is like, yeah, I know how things work.
It's going to be a 1d20 plus your strength modifier plus proficiency.
Yes, thank you. Sorry for that.
No worries. We have a lot of different experience levels come on Phantom Roll Booth, and so we love. You don't need to know the system.
No,
In
this
fact,
is
we
called
prefer if you
being
don't.
really rusty. I got a 10, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah, you hit it. It just doesn't feel anything because it's plated like a rhino. It's its turn, and it's going to direct both attacks at you now. Oh no. Okay, that's a 20 on the first one, non-nat, and the other was a 15 plus 6, so 21. So take 4d6 plus 8 damage.
Oh god, this is not going to end well.
Oh, that should be +4 to my damage, shouldn't it?
Yes. Yes.
46 plus 8.
Yes. Also, concentration check.
Oh god, the concentration check might not even be.
Well, it's 2 attacks, so you have 2 concentration checks, not one gigantic one.
Okay, 14 plus 12 is Jesus Christ. And then 2 concentration checks.
Yes, the first against DC 14, the other against DC 12.
And what do I add to concentration again?
It is your Constitution modifier.
Okay. And I got a 6 and a 13.
Okay, 6 and a 13. So your Shield of Faith spell falters. You're being slapped around by this hook horror and unable to maintain your horizon to Pan that has sustained the magic, unfortunately. Screg and Eridani, you're up. Your healer's in some trouble.
Help! Help!
I can't do much to heal the healer, but I'm going to continue my witch bolt. And
Okay. You just roll damage, as I recall. Yeah.
Yep, they each take 10 more points of damage.
The hooked horror in front of you, Screg, collapses.
Yep.
Another pulse of witch bolt blasts into its body, and like it regurgitates what looks like a liver or something, and collapses to the ground dead. The other one is not looking well off either. Screg, it is within 30 feet, so you can still make it to it and do your attacks if you want.
Is it within 25 feet?
Yes. Sure.
Then I can get there.
It's within a very short 30 feet.
Okay, I will run over there as fast as my little legs will take me
Mm-hmm.
and have another couple of attacks with my axe. The first one is a 17
It's a hit.
for 13 points of damage. And the second one is another 17
That's a hit.
for 10 points of damage.
Definitely bloodied. It is going to disengage and try and run on its turn, but Toki and Sibo, you both get a turn before it gets to run if you want to try and finish it, or you can just let it run.
All right.
I'll cast Sacred Flame.
Okay. It's a dex save, I think.
Yes.
It did not make it.
Ooh. So you have to take. Can I make you roll your own damage or?
Depends. Is it a D20 or a D10? Because those are what I have.
No, okay, never mind. And it takes 9 total damage because one of those die rolls was a 1, and the other was an 8.
All
Is it
right.
down?
Perfectly average, perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Yeah, it's 58 damage. It's looking rough.
But it's not down.
But it's not down. It's gonna be scarred for
All right.
a while from this.
Well, it's still my turn.
Yep.
And what I'm going to do is, how high is the cave?
Where you are now, it rises about 60 feet from what you can tell.
Well, death from above.
All right. I'm
going
gonna
to
fly
leap in
up
the
and
air, fly up, and then, you know what? Smash Brothers, Link down smash.
okay.
Just two-handed.
Here's how we'll do that. I will give you advantage on your attack roll, but if you still miss, you're going to take some fall damage.
I'm perfectly fine with that. That is a 24 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
And order of operations, I should be able to make a bonus action to sneak attack it, but screw it.
Yeah. My
that is
DM
10
style.
damage without a sneak attack.
Okay. Still alive?
Can I add the sneak attack then? Because
You had advantage.
yes. Okay, that is an additional 5, an additional 7 damage.
It is precisely the amount of damage needed to kill it. Like exact. That is efficiency. For those
That's
in the audience,
surgical.
that's what efficiency looks like. All right. Not wasting damage left and right, overkill. No, no, no. Only what's necessary. We live in a society of waste, and this okay. So you come down and just bury both blades right into when you had been like Shadow of Colossusing on it, you had seen that its neck joint, there's a very big gap there. And you come down and both blades right under this like neck plate, and with one lever, you basically pop the like top of its head off,
Oh,
and it collapses dead.
That's where the juiciest meat is.
Gross. Cyraste looks so relieved that this has happened, and she looks a little shaky and suggests taking a short break to like get her nerves and like rest for a moment. So you can take a short rest if you want. You now have the safety for a short rest if you want. Some of you.
Yes, please.
spin a dagger, start carving a little bit of meat. You say this is the good part, Scrag?
Yep, definitely. With a
Getting
little
some
bit
that
of
head meat.
a little bit of sweet and sour sauce. Beautiful.
All right.
Well, I'm a bird, so it's more.
So
Can I just say how much fun I'm having with the combat?
good. Good. That's like the point. I think a lot of times combat gets treated as like a mini game to the role playing. It's like you get the Final Fantasy da 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 da, and like you zoom in, and suddenly you're playing this board game type deal.
When you said
For-
they charge, I did literally picture the Final Fantasy Zoom blur.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've actually only just started playing Final Fantasy
Mm,
15 because I'm lame.
I've never played Final Fantasy, so even though I
I don't
made the
see how that's
reference,
lame.
I've actually never played it. Also, never played Pokemon. So there are a lot of cultural touchstones I'm missing, and Marcy's doing her best to educate me. In any case, you have a short rest. You can roll hit die to regain hit points if you want, and if you need, you can spend healing and such. Cyraste is fine. She's at full health now, so she doesn't need any healing. She also didn't seem to be any danger of that fight because she just let you guys take care of it.
Going to roll 2 hit die on myself
Okay.
because I am at 2 health right now.
Hmm.
That's
I
a good amount of health.
I have a question. Do you have to declare how many die you are rolling all at once, correct?
No, you can roll one at a time.
Okay. 7 plus 2.
So this is just a little bookkeeping moment. Sit here, I'll talk to the audience. How are you
Heal
guys doing
for
out
9
there?
hit points, and you know what? I'm gonna heal again so I'm back up to full. That's 2 hit die for me.
Going
Nice.
to cast Cure Wounds on myself.
Solid choice.
I am dying. That was not a good fight for the tiny gnome.
I think you're the only one who like got significantly hit at all.
Just thanks so much. I appreciate it so much.
No problem.
Greg was really impressed with the way you stood up to the hook horror, so he'll offer lay on hands if you need it.
Actually, that would be useful.
Yep.
Dokuri is offering meat all around, just waving like wet, bloody chunks around. It's like, this is a good one.
As you do, as is a normal thing to do.
So, how much healing do you need?
Not too much. I've gotten back up to a semi-reasonable amount of hit points, but just a little bit more would be really nice.
So I can do up to 25. So let me know what you need.
Maybe like 5 hit points.
Yep. Done.
Okay, cool.
Are-
I'm not
are-
quite at maximum, but I'm no longer at 2. So
Yeah, Aradani is kind of looking at Sarasti, trying to see if maybe this person is realizing, oh, this person is a spellcaster. They actually know what I was talking about.
Yeah, Cyraste is not paying attention to you, and generally treats anyone who isn't herself in a mirror as second in her concerns. So you don't see any like recognition that you might have been hoping for from this Eladrin. She still, whenever she seems to look at you, it's still like she's looking through you.
Please stop putting song titles in my head.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
Aradani really doesn't like her very much.
this is why no one likes the. And I was about to make a Silmarillion reference, but I can't remember the name of the elves that stayed behind in Valinor.
Oh
You say
god.
the elves.
Oh god, I have all my Lord of the Rings books right over there. I'm not gonna look it up.
Don't
I'm
start
not gonna
with
look it up.
Tolkien. I will start Tolkien beef. I will start Tolkien beef.
So after you take about an hour to rest and patch up, and Cyraste starts getting antsy as suggesting we really should get going. I don't know how long it
The
will
cloak
take.
is back on,
Mhm.
ready to move on.
Mhm.
Okay. The rest of the trip through the tunnel is largely uneventful, but I want everyone to give me a perception check.
Ooh, that's bad. That was a perception. That's a 7. That was a die roll of 2.
Solid.
It's a 9.
11.
9. 11.
14.
14 is exactly, again, efficiency. I love it. Exactly. So Screg, and actually this makes sense. You're one of the only ones familiar with stone cunning enough to catch it. The entrance you came through, it was wiped away by the time and elements, but on the inside of Caldera is generally going to be less weathered than the outside, which is constantly being buffeted by winds and such, or at least more winds. In any case, you see dwarvish writing, and it identifies this. It identifies a side passage. You see, oh, that might be a side passage into the mountain, and it says trade route to the trade outpost of Sarun Kal. So you now know the name of the ancient kingdom that used to be here. It's Sarun Kal, and now you have what looks like an entrance to it, but maybe that's a story for another time. Ooh.
Is there a sign that says bathroom this way?
No. You
Let's
come
go
out
this way,
of the
this way.
tunnel's exit. You've been getting used to like the thunder, the flash, the constant pounding of the elements. And so it's very weird to step out of the exit and just see a yellow sky above you, a clear sky. There's the storm all around you, but it's quiet in here. It is soft. It is not dumping gallons and gallons of rain on you. Even at the edges, it's flicking into the eye of the storm, but here there's nothing. And up ahead, an ominous purple glow. So the caldera is like rocky, sort of comes up to a point, and there's what looks like a clear, sort of some kind of clearing at the top, slightly obscured by rocks. And you see there's this glow, and Cyraste immediately goes, yes, there, that is where we need to go. Yes.
How far away is it, roughly?
It's about 240 feet.
Okay. But as they come out into actual sunlight, regardless of the situation, Tokri is going to kind of step out and just kind of drop her hood and look up and close her eyes and just bask in the sunlight for a moment.
Nice.
Screg's going to do the opposite. He hates the sunlight, so
Just like hood up.
I'm going to assume that this purple glow is something magical in nature. Can I
Yes, it is.
use an arcana and see if I can if I know anything about what this might be?
Yes.
That is 11.
Okay. You know it could be three things. One, you know that it is not a portal yet. A portal is almost always defined by its edges, and this looks like sort of a singular beam. But that means that it could be a portal about to open. It could be a summoning kind of beacon, like a magic equivalent of a flare. Or it could be stasis, like something is frozen there and locked in place by magic. But you just at a glance, unfortunately, you can't tell which of those three it is.
Okay.
What do you all do?
I'm
So
willing to scout if we have time.
Cyraste is just scrambling up towards it.
Guess we should follow her.
yeah, I'm out of range
Taking
at the
the high
moment,
road.
but as soon as I get within 60 feet, I'm going to use divine sense and see if I can sense any celestial fiend or undead.
Okay.
Skyward.
Okay. So Toki is keeping the eyes up. Screg is going to use divine
No,
sense.
Toki is going up.
Oh, you fly up. Okay, so you're probably the first to see it. And Screg, when you get within 60 feet, you can tell none of that up there.
Yeah.
Doc, Toki sees one figure standing in front of this glowing sort of beam of purple light. They are a purplish black skinned elf in the robes of a wizard, a dark elf. And they are chanting. And Cyraste is scrambling up desperately. From where she's coming up, there's like a rockin' way, so she undoubtedly doesn't see this person. Neither does anyone else. What do you do?
I'm going to go ahead and guess because I'm not. Actually, let me look up one thing.
Okay. All right.
Okay, sorry. The Arakokra. Are their wings separate from their arms? I forget.
Yes.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm going to try and position myself as high as possible so the sun is behind me.
Okay.
You know, classic dogfighting.
Sure.
And then I'm going to sneak attack him.
Okay. Go ahead and make a stealth check.
Stealth check, yes. That is a 25.
25. That hits. Go ahead and deal damage.
Okay.
You
You said stealth check.
Stuff.
What's that?
You said stealth check.
And you said you were going to sneak attack him.
Yes, but I rolled the 25 was the stealth check.
Okay, so make your attack roll.
Okay, cool. I have advantage or no?
You're attacking from stealth, so yes.
Yes. Okay. And I'm glad I did. That is a 6. That is a 13.
That is a miss. It skips off. Your arrow comes in and it skips off some shimmering sort of golden second skin mage armor. And he spins around just as Cyraste and the rest of you are cresting around onto this clearing. He spins around with his hands up, ready to cast. He pauses and goes, Cyraste, what are you doing here? And Cyraste says, I am here to fix this, How dare you be here? And he notes you up in the sky now that he's facing the right direction. You know, he can see there's a figure up there and he goes, what is going on? You have brought your minions here. You have torn a hole in the world. And you expect me not to notice? He looks at you. You will not take me alive. and she begins unwrapping this beautifully ornate glass orb. And she goes, "You will not get in the way, Destin. You will not get in the way." And he, I guess we'll roll initiative now.
It's a Pokeball?
You don't know what it is.
Gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all.
Eridani might. If Eridani, you want to roll Arcana for me?
Sure. 7.
No idea. It looks at first glance like that's a divination orb. What does that have anything to do with anything?
That's 22 on the initiative.
Okay. Yeah, they'd rolled a nat 1, so everyone's going to go before them. We'll just go clockwise from Doc.
Okay.
So I'm going to reposition myself in the sky to be, because we are all approaching from one direction.
Mhm.
So you've got us here, him here, me up here.
Yep.
I want to be behind him to force him to either look at me or look at them.
Sure.
And whether he tracks me or not, I'm taking another shot. And I will make my check with my bonus action to natural 1. I'm not gonna be able to sneak attack him without advantage.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can't stealth when you're hanging in the sky like that anyway.
Well, that's why I'm trying to abuse the sun, and also
that was a one-time thing. That's fair. It's difficult for him to look at you comfortably, especially because he's a drow. But
yes,
that just gives him disadvantage. Anyways, so you don't have sneak attack, but you do have a regular attack if you want.
Yes. So that is 9 plus 7, so 16 to hit.
Hits.
All right, and that is a short bow 1d6.
Okay.
Wow, all the ones are coming out today. Plus 7, so plus 4, so 5 damage.
5 damage. Okay. Open a nasty cut on his head. He managed to dip just out of the way, and it skips off of his. He's got his hair tied back in a very tight ponytail. Next would be, if we're going clockwise, it is Norm. Screg.
So how far would I be from the drow at the moment?
26 feet. No, I'm kidding. You're within 25.
Okay. So I will race up to him and swing with my axe.
Okay.
So that is a 19.
Hits. He's going to cast shield and make that miss. So the first attack misses, and he has AC of 20 against it.
Okay, I will try with second attack,
Mm-hmm.
which is a 16.
That'll hit because he only has one reaction.
Yep. So I will do my damage, and then I will add to it. I think. No, sorry, it's not a bonus action. So that's 8 points of damage. I was going to try to do a
Smite.
A smite, yeah.
Smite does not require an action. After you hit, you can declare whether or not you're going to smite.
Okay, so I'll do a divine smite, which is extra die 8.
2d8.
2d8.
Yeah. I know paladins because they're like my favorite class.
Oh, okay.
This is my
first.
I don't think I've ever cast a spell as a paladin. I just use them as smite engine. Like it's my favorite thing to do is make people explode with divine radiant.
Yep. So that's an extra 10 points of damage.
All right. Your first attack skips. He throws a hand up, and this blue sort of shield materializes, and your axe shatters through it, but he gets out of the way. Your follow-up swing takes him in the gut, and if it weren't for his mage armor, it probably would have killed him. Next up is going clockwise. So Yaz, Ardani.
He, just to clarify, he said that Cyrosti tore a hole in the world. Yes.
Yes. Yes, that is what he's
Okay.
saying.
I am asking some questions here. um. So Cyrasti doesn't. Sorry, Aradani doesn't like Cyrasti much. So I'm just like
Yeah.
everybody wait. You said she tore a hole in the world. What are you doing up here?
I felt the magical disturbance and came to see what it was.
Um. And what did she do?
I suspect she is creating this vortex of arcane energy to absorb it. And I think that's about as much back and forth conversation as you can manage with an action in 6 seconds.
Okay.
Ha 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 ha.
Sibo.
Sibo is of kind of a similar mind. He doesn't dislike the he doesn't dislike anyone in this group terribly much because that's not really in his nature, but he also isn't really a big fan of senseless fighting, so he kind of tries to continue that conversation of like, so what do you think is going on here? What if neither of you have summoned the disturbance and you're fighting each other pointlessly?
I have no idea, and I'm not going to commiserate and try to explain myself when you're attacking me.
I'm not doing anything. I'm just over here.
You say as the Durgar is
he's
bearing an
smashing
axe
the
into his
with his
chest.
hand.
You can forego your action if you want to try and calm the situation down.
Yeah. What kind of role would that be?
This is persuasion because you're not trying to intimidate him to back down. You're trying to plea to like the better half, be like calm down. Let's work this out.
Oh boy, I have completely okay charisma, so, and I got 11.
11. He closes his hands, which is sort of a universal sign among spellcasters that I'm not going to cast spells because you need fingers to do that. So he does this, and he's going to hold his action. Cyraste's turn. She casts Misty Step because she's an Eladrin and flashes behind him, shoving this orb into the purple light. There is a thunderous flash. Everyone make Wisdom if you want to stay standing, or Dexterity if you want to throw yourself out of the way. Save. DC is going to be 15. So it's Wisdom if you're going to try and stand and just take this arcane energy, or if you want to throw yourself into cover or something, Dexterity save. And this flash is like boom. It's several miles out.
17 dex.
Okay.
16 wisdom.
All right.
I rolled a natural 20 on a wisdom.
Fantastic. So Toki is going to have to dive bomb into cover from the sky.
That's a 7 dex.
Okay. I think you're the only one that failed. Actually, Wizard, hold on. No, Wizard failed with you. You're going to take 1d10 plus 3 damage. And I actually have, okay. The Wizard is about dead.
Ooh, I rolled max damage on that one.
And we're back at the top with Toki.
Okay.
Cyraste appears it's almost impossible to see her form. She is in the middle of this column of purple light.
Okay. First of all, I think I want to elaborate on the diving out of the way, just because I have cool ideas about that. Is not so much flying out of the way, but just dropping and then acrobatically rolling behind a rock.
Sure.
With the momentum. So pop out over the rock, draw the bow, and I'm going to hold an action on her and use my bonus to roll my my insight versus deception for sneak attack.
Yep. Go ahead.
That is an 18 plus wisdom, so 18 plus
Got a
Two.
19
So
plus.
20.
Okay. She got a 19 plus 2, so unfortunately she
Okay.
beats you on this one. Which
That's fine, but I'm
sense.
going to hold the attack. I'm going to see what's playing out
Okay.
because I'm still not convinced that she's doing anything yet.
No worries. Screg, what do you do?
So the wizard's dead, not a problem anymore.
He's not dead. He's on the verge of death. Like, he is very close to death. That flash took a lot out of him.
Fishy
Um,
wizard.
I'm kind of I'm waiting for cues from people on what to do. I'm inclined to just kill them both and let the gods sort them out. So I'll disregard the wizard as a threat, and I might go and try to stop the Eledrin from doing whatever she's doing.
All right.
So I might go over and try to grapple her.
All right. Go ahead and roll athletics. She will oppose with acrobatics. She got an 18 minus 1, so 17.
I got a unnatural 20.
All right. You have her grappled now. You get to, and as soon as you reach in, there's something not right. You can't place your finger on it, also because there's blinding light, but it doesn't, like, you don't grab cloth.
Okay.
You do grab something, and that something is grappled.
Okay.
Oh, sweet heavens.
Yaz, was Eridani doing?
Does this thing that she had weigh 10 pounds or less?
The thing that she has?
The orb?
It did.
Ah. Can I tell if it still does?
It probably still weighs 10 pounds, but it is now fused with her.
Ah, okay. Um,
And you see that it is like, it's literally like fused into her chest
okay, okay.
and broiling with arcane energy now.
Okay, when you're done with that turn, I will loose that arrow because that is evil.
Go ahead and make your attack roll. But yes, what is Eridani doing?
I'm thinking because that changed what I was going to do.
No worries.
It's a 9, by the way, so that's definitely a miss.
Definitely.
Unless there's some kind of grapple penalty, but I don't think.
Actually, hold on.
9.
Let me check the stats. No, that was still a miss.
I am. Is it possible for me to have a 10-foot radius sphere that affects her but none of my allies?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
She is grappled with one of them, isn't she?
Mhm.
Okay.
You put the sphere behind her, and it's fine.
Okay. In that case, I am going to attempt to cast Shatter on her.
Interesting.
Um,
Is that a save on her part, or is that an attack roll?
That is a Constitution save, and that is a DC 14.
She got a nat 20.
Okay.
I like this dice.
Um,
It's not mine. I think it's one of Marcy's. So
so she, I think that's half damage. Yeah, that's half damage. So that is.
Was
7.
that a dex save she made?
It's a Constitution save.
Ah, concentration.
Yep.
Yeah. So she
7
takes
damage?
7. Yeah.
Okay. That
Oh, and
that's-
inorganic material made of inorganic materials such as stone, crystal, or metal has disadvantage.
okay. That does not change it, but okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Okay.
So the shatter goes off, and it doesn't seem to really affect her, and the purple light is starting to fade and collapse down onto her. Sibo, you're up.
I am going to rush over to the downed wizard and cast Cure Wounds as a second level spell.
He's not down. He's about 5 hit points from being down, but you can still cast a spell. I don't know if that changes. He's like just prone on the ground.
I'm still gonna do
Okay.
that just because I feel kind of bad because this is possibly sort of my fault.
Sure. All right, go ahead and roll the healingness.
Yay, healing. Wait, yeah, I do. I do 16 total healing on him.
Nice. You bring him back above bloodied, which is good. That tells you how little hit points he had. Squishy wizards. Okay. It is his turn. From his back, can someone look up the spell lightning bolt? I think he's got fireball. Sorry, no. Yeah, fireball.
Okay. 1 second.
You don't need to look it up because he casts fireball and it lopes over Screg, and the grappled Cyraste thing explodes, and that the light collapses down. Screg, you see she is completely unaffected by fire because it looks as though she is now made of fire. This purple, angry fire. It starts in the small orb in her chest, and it seems to like infect her skin outwards. It's as though her skin has turned translucent, and there's fire underneath it. Her eyes are now not green; they're now swirling purple as well. Her hair is floating, drifting like flickering flame. You realize what you're holding onto is not a grip. She is immune to the grappled condition as a pseudo fire elemental.
Oh,
Jean Grey, we've talked about this.
It is her turn. She is going to simply move into Screg.
oh, great.
Yeah. So you take 1d10 fire damage, and you will stay on fire until someone takes an action to put you out. And with her action, so that was just her movement. She moved like, and is literally now engulfs you in this purple flame, and everyone else sees her form split from this humanoid figure into just a broil of flame, and it swirls around Screg and reforms just past him.
I took 6 points of damage there.
Okay. For her action, she simply tilts slightly back, and it seems as though all of the wind of the storm around you swirls into this glass orb in her chest. And now that fire is intermixed with air. The storm has stopped moving. Water droplets hanging in midair, rock hanging like and pebbles and boulders that had been dislodged just hanging there without any wind to move them. And we're back at the top. Toki.
Okay. So, all right. First things first, I'm going to make an insight check versus her deception.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Oh my fucking god, this die. 8.
Yeah, she beat an 8. She is.
All right. Well,
to be fair, she is somewhat inscrutable as an elemental creature now. They're a bit harder to read.
this is fair. But okay, she's no longer grappled, so I'm actually just going to take a shot with a bow.
Okay.
And that is a 21 to hit.
Hits. Her AC is 13 while in this form.
13. Gotcha. And the D6 on the short bow.
Mm-hmm.
So that is 6 damage.
Okay. Your arrow hits her. She is not fully an elemental, so she doesn't get the benefit of damage resistance to non-magical attacks. So you guys are lucky with that. So you do deal full damage. Next up is Screg. Yes.
Sorry. One more thing. Since I'm behind cover, I would still like to use the rest of my movement to move back into full cover
Sure.
between
Done.
shots.
It is a thing. Screg.
So since she moved into me to do damage, I'm
Yes.
going to try to do likewise. I'll move into her and attempt to inflict wounds.
Okay. Okay. At the start of your turn, you take 1d10 damage from the still being on fire, but
Yep.
you can't catch fire twice, so you're actually fine from the additional effects.
Yep. So that's another 5 points of damage. Yep. So my attack on her is a 17.
Hits.
I'll cast it at second level, so that's 4d10.
It's 2d10 at the first level, and then 1d10 for each level after.
Because of my Oathbreaker, it's an extra d10.
Awesome. I love smites. Never stop smiting. Smites forever.
No, I'm doing inflict wounds, not smite.
Oh, fair.
So that's.
I'm not disappointed in you.
Well, I was
okay.
returning the favor. So that's 29 points of damage.
29. Okay.
Necrotic damage.
Yeah, no, she takes it. Her form, like at your touch, like splits and like bursts of like flares of fire loop out, and they don't come back into her, so she's losing form a bit. Okay, next up is Eldani. Eridani, sorry.
I am gonna try a ray of frost at her.
Ooh.
That is exactly a 13.
13. That is a hit, yeah.
Yep.
Deal double damage.
I hoped that might be the case. Where is my... That is 19 damage.
Nice.
And I am also, if I can get into cover from where I am, I'm also going to do that.
Sure. She is bloodied, by the way. Her form wavering and indistinct.
Isn't the term smoking?
Probably. Finally, Sibo.
Would dumping a bunch of water on her have any effect?
Well, she's made of fire. It's worth a shot, isn't it?
Okay. I didn't know I was going to have an excuse to use this spell. But I guess I'm going to use create water.
Awesome. Yes. Tell me about create water.
So I'm not going to produce 10 gallons of drinkable water, but what it means is I can, you may also produce a rain that falls within a 30-foot cube and extinguishes open air flames.
Okay. All right. Let's.
Will also help Screg.
Yeah, that's true. Screg, you're no longer on fire.
But I do object to having to take a bath.
Okay. So it's about. Is it this like a concentration thing? Is it just going to keep raining? Or is it just like a single create shower type deal?
The duration is instantaneous, so it's just like there's a sudden torrential downpour.
Okay.
And then it's gone.
Okay. We'll call that 2d10 damage.
Yes.
That is a vulnerability.
Yeah. Because she takes Yep. Okay. That works for me.
Oh my god. And I do a total of 5 damage.
That is better than nothing. So just steam
yet to hit her.
blooming off of her. Steam blooms off of it. This is like sudden downpour. It is the mage's turn. And he is going to cast Misty Step. And he just blinks and begins to run.
Valid.
Cyraste's turn. As a bonus action, she is going to switch to her air elemental form, which she just absorbed. And she is going to.
Does she count
I
as fog
hate
in
fighting
any
the
capacity?
Avatar.
I'm sorry. What was that, Wes?
Does she count as fog in any capacity?
No.
By the way, her
She-
speed is reduced by 10 feet.
That's all right. It went from 90 to 80. She is going to slam. All right, just tech stuff. Don't worry about it. She's going to whirlwind. So I think Screg is definitely caught in the whirlwind. We'll say evens. Toki is odds. West Sibo is. I think Aldani is the furthest away. It was evens. So Toki, you need to make a strength save, as does Screg. On a failure, you're gonna get tossed like a rag.
Oh, jeez.
Strength save.
Yep. DC is only 13 though.
17.
Okay.
I only got a 9.
Okay.
The dwarf goes flying.
Target takes half bludgeoning damage and isn't flung away. So she suddenly conjures up this whirlwind and just rocks and stuff whipping at you. Take 3d8 plus 2, half that. And as that was just a thing she can do. Oh, it recharges. That makes sense. So she may or may not be able to do that every turn. We'll see. As her action, she once more leans back, and suddenly all of those water droplets sucked into the orb. And now it's just sort of rocks and stuff hanging in the air outside of the eye of the storm.
Guess
I
the
hate
sudden
fighting the
downpour brings-
Avatar.
Back to the top. Toki, you're up.
Okay, so big rock or whatever cover it is,
Mhm.
normally just poked out the left. Gonna poke out the right this time.
Yep.
And going to train eyes. Let's see how deceptive wind is. 11. Gah!
I was so sure this time.
I'm
She
just
rolled a
gonna make
10
it
and she
that.
has a +2. Oh,
I also have a +2.
that's so funny. Okay, yeah. It's hard to figure her out right now.
Well, I think what it is I'm like, okay, hey, shoot the fire lady, wind lady. You know? So that's 6 plus. That's 13 to hit.
You do get sneak attack because you've got an ally next to her though.
Sweet.
Because Screg is right there. He's
Okay, does a 13 hit?
13 does not hit an air elemental.
Yeah. All right. And I believe I cannot fire along my move, so I am now exposed, or I guess in half cover.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm sorry. That 5 damage may not have killed like done a lot of damage. It was enough to bump her threshold. I'm sorry, little brief retcon. When you hit her with that water, all the fire left. All of it evaporated, even the stuff in her orb, so she
Oh.
can no longer adopt fire form anymore.
Oh,
Sorry,
Cool.
I completely. That's on me. I miscounted with the hit point thresholds. Okay, we're good. But now we're at the top. Toki's just gone. Missed with the attack. Screg, you're up.
So, do I think I'd be able to hit the air elemental with my axe, or not really?
The air elemental, yes, it is harder to hit than the fire elemental, but
Okay.
yeah.
So I'll just start swinging away with my axe again.
All right, go ahead and roll.
So that's a 19
Hits.
for 8 points of damage.
Okay, you gonna smite it all?
Oh, yes. I do forget that one.
Mm-hmm.
I will smite again. So that's 2d8. So that's 8 points of damage.
8 points. Another 8 points?
Yep.
Okay. Ooh. Air elemental form already not looking great. It is now Eridani's turn.
I am going to cast Ray of Sickness,
Interesting.
which is one of my racial abilities.
Okay.
That is 16 on the die. That is a
Hit if it's against AC.
yes. So she needs to make a Constitution save DC 14.
She rolled a 16.
Okay. She is not poisoned, but
She's also immune to poison, so
oh, okay. Well, then she doesn't
Yeah.
take damage.
yeah, in this form, this sickness, it like literally you watch it, this green black sickness enter her and just like spread out and dissipate.
Okay.
All right. Sibo.
would dispel magic do anything?
No.
Okay, then instead of doing that, I'm going to summon my spiritual weapon,
Mm-hmm.
which means that I have I guess I'm just going to make it look like a mace because why
You've
not?
got a mace, yeah.
And I will attack. I will attack her with it, which
Okay.
is a melee spell attack, so I can actually use a good modifier instead of literally all my other modifiers.
Yay.
And I got a 23.
23 hits.
And then I do 1d8 plus 3. And a total of 7 force damage.
Ooh, 7 force damage. Still precarious. Spiritual hammer mace has some more heft to it against a creature that's somewhat insubstantial. The other wizard keeps running. You hear another bump as he misty steps into the caves. Cyraste, I get to check. Evens, she gets to whirlwind again. Odds, she does not get to whirlwind again. She's going to spend her action to okay, yeah. She's going to spend her action to slam Screg and try and push him away from her. 2 attacks, 17 plus 8 is probably a hit.
Yep.
And 11 plus an 8, probably a hit.
Yes.
You take 4d8 plus 10 damage and make a strength save or be thrown 10 feet away. And she's going to then sort of air leap on top of the cover that Toki is using. She didn't have any other actions, but she's now on top of it, about to bring some air hammer down on him. down on her.
So took 20. I took 21 points of damage,
Mm-hmm.
and I made a strength check of 14.
Okay, so you pass the save. That means you don't get thrown. That means you get an attack of opportunity when she leaves adjacent to you.
Can
Go
I,
swing.
with that hit though, can I do a hellish rebuke?
Yes. So I think, would that use your reaction?
Yes.
Okay, so it's neither or.
I like Wes's slow motion fist pump there.
So she needs to make a dexterity saving throw or take damage.
She has a +5 modifier to dexterity and still managed to fail.
Oh my god.
So she takes 13 points of damage.
13. Oh, she's so close to being kicked out of this form as well. If you haven't guessed, if she doesn't have a form to go to, she dies. So like that's the choice she's making every turn. Does she absorb a new form or something else? Anyway, okay. So that hellish rebuke happened. It scorched her. Her airy form, and now she's like insubstantial, wafting. Her hair is no longer flickering. It's drifting gently as though in a constant breeze. She is now on top of the rock looking down at Toki. It's Toki's turn.
Okay. I'm going to look up at her. And I'm going to say, I might not recognize a lot of the movements of a mage, but I definitely recognize the movements of someone jumping up to slam at me. So I am going to eyes.
12. She got a 12 again. Can you beat the 12?
5. I'm going to jump up to meet her and I'm going to stab her with my rapier.
Okay. Sounds like a great idea.
Don't you get sneak attack from proximity? Because isn't Screg still around?
No,
Or did
she
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 move?
no.
jumped away from Scrag.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that is a 12. So no, that's not going to hit.
No. So you like a gust, a zephyr like pushes your blade out of the path of her body. Her eyes are now a brilliant blue, glowing with malice.
Why are we fighting
Bye,
the vampires?
guys.
Screg.
I've taken quite a few hits, so I feel like I need to take a bit of self-care, lay on hands.
Self-care is important, guys.
So I'm going to drop 15 points on myself.
Okay. Eridani.
I am gonna go for a chill touch, which, contrary to how it might seem, is not actually a range of touch.
Weird, but okay.
But it is quite chill.
That is a 22.
Hits.
Right? And she is gonna take 10 necrotic.
Okay. Necrotic does affect her. Poison does not. Her form, this like foulness enters her airy form, and it again sort of like drifts off, and you see in just like one, all the air in the globe disappears. There's only water left in there, and her form, the water like spreads out and splashes around inside of her skin, and now she is water elemental form.
Doesn't chill touch like hang out weirdly?
She can't regain hit points until the start of my next turn.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's not regaining hit points. She just at each certain threshold she changes form, if she has a form to change into. Finally, Sibo.
I'm just gonna hit her with my magic mace again.
That's a bonus action, isn't that? It's
I
a
think it is.
action to cast, but then afterwards it's concentration bonus.
Oh, Okay, then I guess first I'm assuming Sacred Flame doesn't actually it doesn't disrupt the concentration.
No.
Okay.
She needs
I'm
to make
gonna
a dex save.
yes.
Okay. 11 plus 2, 13.
What happens on a tie?
The active roller wins, so she would have won.
Okay, then nothing happens.
Okay. Still get the bonus action mace though.
Yep. And 17
Hits.
and wait. Sorry. I need to check something in case I okay, yeah. And she takes a total of 4 damage.
Okay. Damage is damage. Your attack splashes into her and seems to disrupt her form a bit. On her turn, she's going to use Whelm. She literally like turns into this wave and tries to push Toki off this slight hill. So you need to make a DC 15 strength save or get white water rapids down the hill.
Almost overwhelmed, you would say?
Oh, do you think that's why they
Ooh.
called the ability Whelm? That's super clever of them. Wow. Chris Perkins, Mike Merles, guys.
Bye, guys.
Failure, huh?
That's a 9.
Yeah. All right, so you are going to take
That is a
2d8
strength. I
plus
can't make that with
4.
athletics or anything.
No, it's a strength save.
Yeah.
On a failure, target takes 2d8 plus 4 bludgeoning damage. If it's large or smaller, it's grappled. You're inside of her water form. She's like a column of water spinning you in a vortex. Yeah, if you stay like that for a bit, you might start to drown.
All right. I need to roll my d8. So 2d8.
Yes.
4, 3. So that's 7 plus how much?
4.
7 plus 4. All right, 11 damage.
All right. And it's now your turn.
All right. Okay. So I am grappled.
Yes. You can try and break free and like get out of the whelm.
But that's an action, correct?
Yes.
And am I at disadvantage to attack from within that?
Yes. It is difficult to. No, actually, no. Doesn't say you're at disadvantage, so you're not at a disadvantage. Whatever difficulty you have swinging underwater is obviated by the fact that the water is her. So
Okay.
it balances out. So just make a normal attack roll, no disadvantage.
All right. I would like to see if I can read the currents.
You are, at this point, it's a point of pride.
Yeah. 8.
10. I keep rolling lower. I keep going down for you.
I am going to stab the ocean. That is a 15 to hit.
That hits.
I am going to
Okay.
stab the ocean. I'm going to go write that down.
8 plus 4. 12 damage.
12 damage. Nice.
Glub, glub, glub.
That's a motivational poster right there. Stab the ocean. Screg, you're up.
Well, I'm concerned that Toki isn't trying to help himself, so I am going to summon my Duergar heritage and cast Enlarge on him.
That's awesome.
Woo!
So hopefully that he will pop out of the water
Sure.
element.
Unfortunately, it can still encapsulate large creatures, but I'm going to say that Toki now has advantage to get out.
Yeah.
It's much harder to contain a creature that's about the same size as you.
So she's a big bird now.
Big bird.
Oh, can I make a point of flavor?
Always.
This is washing out the dye, and there's like ink spreading and swirling inside of her.
I love it.
Yes.
Eridani.
If I cast a lightning bolt, will that also hit Toki?
There is a good chance. Yes.
Okay.
Because now if Toki were still medium, there would maybe be a chance that they're not in line of the lightning
Yeah.
bolt, but now they're both large creatures, so
Okay. I am just going to go with the I'm just gonna go with the chill touch again then.
okay.
I don't think a 10 is gonna hit.
10 is not going to hit, unfortunately. They've moved now far enough down the other side of the hill that you sort of have to like get up on the hill to have line of sight, and that messes with your aim enough, I think.
Okay.
Sibo.
So does she count as a 30-foot cube of water in an open container?
It's a weirdly specific question. I can't help but think there's a reason for it. So, what are you trying to do?
So the spell create water can also be the spell destroy water.
Okay.
And I don't
Okay.
think this is technically.
I'm gonna give her a save against half damage for this. What's your spell save DC?
My spell save DC is 13.
Okay, we'll make this wisdom seems appropriate to resist the effects of this magic. She got an 11. Go ahead and roll 2d10 damage.
Oh my god. This is amazing.
You add water, you take away water.
Total of 7 damage.
Solid. Yeah.
I just.
This form is not looking good. So she is going to
Oh,
move.
and I also hit her again with my.
Yes, go ahead and make that attack roll. Your spiritual weapon.
21.
21 hits.
And I do total of 8 damage.
8 damage. It's nice. She's not looking good. She's not looking good. And here's where I am going to make you guys roll a morale save for her. Does she prioritize her self-preservation or murdering you for daring to interrupt her apotheosis? I don't have d6s, so roll 2d6, and we'll say on an 8, a 7, a 7 or higher, she's going to be overwhelmed with a murderous rage, and she's not going to absorb a new form.
Are we all rolling this, or is one of us rolling this?
Let's give it to Eridani. Go ahead and roll 2d6, 7 or higher.
That is an 11.
Yeah, she wants you guys to die. So rather than
glug,
protect,
glug, glug.
rather than complete her own ritual and absorb the final earth form, she's going to continue trying to murder you all. Toki, you are still inside of it, so you make another save against damage as you get tossed and battered around inside.
Mm-hmm.
It is, however, going to swarm uphill at the person hitting it with the spiritual weapon, and it's going to make 2 slam attacks against Sibo.
So this is a strength roll, you said?
Yes.
Do I have any kind of advantage or bonus from being large?
No, the bonus is to escape.
Okay.
I have my literal physical shield that is part of my thing that I forgot about. So can I suddenly use that now?
Yeah, no worries.
That is a 9.
Okay,
So I'm
that's
assuming I'm taking the damage.
yeah, another 2d8 plus 4. Wes, attack
2 and
was
6,
10 plus 7.
4, 12.
That does not hit.
Okay, second
I've
attack
taken 12 damage.
is 15 plus 7, so that probably hits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, take 2d8 plus 4 damage. And that is her turn. Back to the top. Toki.
Read the tides. 19 plus 2, 21. Did she get nat 20?
No, she rolled a 15. You finally got it. You get it. You got it.
You read the
You
tide.
read the tides.
You were giving me such a look.
I was ready to mess with you, but
Okay, I will roll to attack.
okay. You get sneak attack because Sibo is now adjacent.
Yes. That is a 19 to hit.
Hits.
All right. So that is a D8 plus 3D6
Plus die 4 because you're enlarged.
plus.
Yep.
Sorry. Plus
Plus a
D4.
D4.
plus a D4. Okay, and plus 4. So 2, 6, 10, 16, 21 plus 4, 25 damage.
Okay. So close. This is the opposite side of efficiency. Screg, you're up. Can you finish this?
I'm certainly going to try. I'll just charge forward with my axe and take a big swing. And I roll an 11. So I'm guessing no with the first
No.
attack.
Miss.
And 12 with the second.
Oh, 2 misses. Aridani, it's up to you.
As I throw my dice across the room.
Mood.
Chill touch again.
Okay.
That is a 20, non-natural.
Hits.
Okay.
Can you roll more than 2 damage?
That is the minimum damage that I can roll because it's a 2d8. So
Um,
I
you're
rolled 3 damage.
show off. Okay.
Efficient.
Still
efficient.
Your chill touch reaches out, and Cyraste's form starts to slow down and freeze, just completely solid. And the enlarged Toki, as soon as they flex, shatters
Yes.
her into a million. Out of her drops the orb, and it bounces and it rolls at the feet of Sibo. What do you do?
I'm gonna check how many spell slots I have left.
Okay.
I could technically cast Dispel Magic on it, but I don't know.
That might work. Now that it's no longer embedded in her, it might work.
Because I feel like picking it up might be a bad idea with my tiny little gnome arms.
Yeah, if you want to be fused with a magical item, you want to fuse it to your chest. You don't want to have an orb hand.
What do you do?
I will try to cast Dispel Magic.
Roll an Arcana check.
Oh God.
Or whatever the rules. I think you have to make a check for Dispel Magic.
Yes. Any spell of any spell of 4th level or higher, make a check using your spellcasting ability. The DC is 10 plus the spell's level.
Got it. I have the DC. Go ahead and make your roll.
I'm just
What's
would that be my spellcasting ability? Okay.
Yeah.
Um.
What spell slot are you using to cast this?
3rd level.
3rd level. Okay, so it automatically ends at 3rd. Okay, got it.
And I got a 9.
Yeah, it was going to work automatically.
Oh, good.
There's no resistance because this item was made mere moments ago. It is not prophylactic by the usual words and spells and little tricks that arcanists use to protect their magical spells. It was like an ad hoc thing. With one casting of Dispel Magic, this thing goes inert and is now a lovely glass orb. All around you hear thudding and crashing sounds as all those floating earth motes, some come crashing to the ground. Um, the elemental magic no longer sustaining them. Cyraste's form disappeared when shattered, her body evaporated. There's no more. And that's the end of the adventure. We'll close up by doing two things. One, narrate your own little outro. How did this adventure change your character in some way? What did they bring from it going forward? Good or bad, you know. And then also after we're done that, everyone's going to introduce themselves and where they can be found on the internet if they want that. So we'll start with Doc.
Okay.
What does Toki take away? How does this change her, if at all?
Well, with this, Tokri will not be returning for a reward with the party. She
Okay.
will take to the sky, but she has found some kinship with these people, and she leaves each of them with a feather of hers, one undyed in its natural charcoal, with just like a little hint of hazel at the tip. And she leaves them with instructions in ways that I'm not going to try to describe here, of ways they might be able to contact her.
Nice. Friendship.
And she leaves to open sky.
Okay.
No, not a cloud in sight. Perfectly blue.
Beautiful
Just
day.
just as the sun falls, and she begins to fly among the stars, disappearing.
Screg.
I think Screg's kind of starting to realize that there's more to everything than heaven and earth, and that maybe he needs to pay more attention to what's happening in the mortal realm rather than caring about what's happening on some level that he can't really attain.
Cool.
And if anyone asks him to kill them from now on, he's going to do it straight away.
How about Eridani? How does this affect them?
Eridani is realizing that maybe she needs to actually pay a little bit more attention, not to what people say, but what people mean. She needs to work on understanding other people a little bit better.
Okay. Interesting. And finally, Sibo. How does this adventure change them in some way?
Sibo is now a little bit less like automatically wants to help everyone and give them healing, because apparently sometimes when you heal people, they turn into elemental monsters and throw water at you. But
Yep.
but also he now has something resembling people he knows who aren't the other clerics / druids he runs into, and that aren't just like the trees he hangs out near.
Okay.
But
So
I think
maybe-
like
yeah.
after, if there is any sort of award after that, he does still go reward after that, he still does return to the woods where he lives.
Sure. It's well and good to have friends in the city, and it's nice to know that you can go to the city and find some worth there. But also, trees are pretty great.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Those who return back to Fallcrest are richly rewarded. They're given property. They're given title of stuff if that's is what they seek, or if they just want gold. That's plenty of that. Um, Certainly, there are ramifications to this day, but that is a story for another day. So let's go around reverse order this time. Remind the audience who you are and, if you want, where they can find you on the internet. We'll start with Wes.
Cool. I'm Wes. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm FTM Shepherd. Shepherd as in the Mass Effect main character.
Nice.
See, I'm trans. It's clever because stuff. And and if you want to read my fan fiction, which is mostly like Ruby and Harry Potter and Red versus Blue, you can go to Peripheral on Archive of Our Own, which is PERIFERAL. Yes, it's a furry pun. No, I'm not going to apologize for it.
Well, now
We're an-
Trocadero's playing in my head.
We are an inclusive community here. Next, Yaz.
I am Yaz. You can find me on Twitter at Dream and Wonder, all one word. I don't tweet very often, so I don't know why you would really want to find me there, but you can. And hopefully within the next month or so, I'm going to be starting my own Dungeons and Dragons stream on Twitch, also Dream and Wonder.
Please let us know about that. We would love to help support you with viewership and or hosting, since this channel is now an affiliate and we can actually do that now, I think. Yeah, please keep us posted about that. We love getting new people into streaming. Next, Norm.
So my name's Norm. You can find me on Twitter at snow_dogs. Don't really have anything to plug.
No worries, that's all right. We're happy enough to have you as a player. And finally, Doc.
Hey guys, I'm Doc. You guys can follow me on Twitter at DoubleDocMD. It's mostly retweeting angry journalism and leftist nonsense. You can also find me on Twitch under the same handle. I stream video games. Currently, I'm in a stream of Fallout New Vegas. I'm in the middle of Old World Blues, having a great time 5 days a week, usually over the overnight kind of time slot. And you can also, if you like talking about movies and doing kind of critical theory and analysis, I do a film podcast called The Movie Morgue, which you can find us on Twitter at Movie Morguecast, one word. And find us on iTunes or wherever good podcasts are sold. We do not sell the podcast. We are actually thinking of switching it up and actually streaming our recording sessions, but that won't be for another week or two. So that'll be a thing. But that will be at DoubleDocMD if that's being streamed. I got a lot of irons in the fire. Sorry.
Very cool. Nothing wrong with that. Streaming is like a second job for me right now, so I get that struggle. I am Colin Vulcanet. I have been your role booth operator today, and thank you for letting me run this. You can find me right here on this channel Saturdays. I try and do Nentier Tales, which is what we're calling this. We're doing a little split from now on. We're calling what Marcy does the Phantom Rule Booth Arcade because it's her playground. It's whatever she wants to run. She has these great ideas and great adventures. And I want to focus on this 5th edition sort of meta story that I'm playing around with. In any case, that's going to be Saturdays. It's always alternating, either me or Marcy, depending on who's available and what we've got going. Viewers, please come to our Discord and apply. We love having new people on the shows, and we really try and keep it inclusive and diverse and constantly going. Additionally, Phantom Roll Booth has the Ballad of the Garbage People. That is alternate Thursdays. We had it this Thursday, so in 2 weeks we're back for episode 3. And there are a couple other projects coming up that I'm not going to talk about quite yet. If you really can't get enough of my face, tune in an hour on Eric Vulgaris's channel. I will be playing Invisible Sun, run by Grant Ellis, a star-crossed rose in the Garden of Midnight. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's that. Marcy is not here, so I gotta go down to her computer to stop the streaming. But thank you all for coming.